Welcome to On the Beat. Today we are joined by Will Cooper. He is with Crowell, Gillis, and Cooper, and we're asking your advice today about modification of child support. What are some things that are required to modify?
Well, a very important topic because the one thing in our law that if once two people decide to divorce, or even if they're never married, our law requires that you support your children. And so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so from a modification standpoint, a modification occurs after there's already been an order. So somebody has been ordered to pay child support.
Okay.
So you've been ordered, and then what happens is things occur. Changes in income, custody is modified. If custody is modified, it may require then some kind of change in child support. But the biggest thing we see, most likely is either an increase in income or a decrease in income, or even worse, somebody losing their job. And then we also have the needs of the child. Children's needs change,
yeah.
and that can be. So in order to get a modification, you have to show a substantial change in the circumstances, a substantial and material change, which warrants the change then of child custody. And you do that by getting a lawyer and filing a petition. And that's how it starts. And those are why you would do it.
Now, one thing when you were saying that made me think, I go to the grocery store now, boy, it meets up. That would not...
Yeah, the economy really doesn't factor in. It's more about the child's needs, i.e. college, education. They say they're more involved in extracurricular activities. Those kind of changes could potentially warrant a substantial change. Medical needs. Child's injured, requires more medical needs. Once again, a substantial change in something that was not there when that initial custody order was entered. But economy is really not figured in because under our law, it assumes that if the economy, you potentially every year have raises, cost of living, those kind of things.
Right, you're going to make.
And remember, it's based on a percentage of what you make is what you pay.
Okay. And then how do you get the process started? Let's say my child has had a significant change medically.
So you would file, like we said, a petition alleging that, and then that would go in front of our chancery judges. And keep in mind that there are guidelines, under the law. And if one child is 14% of what's called your adjusted gross income, which is really your net.
Okay.
And then second child, then it gets you to 20%. A third child, 22%. And then at a certain level, your certain level of income, you can kind of throw the percentages out the door. If somebody made $1 million a year, they're not going to make them pay 14% of their adjusted gross income for child support. So it's mainly, they used to say 50,000 is kind of the threshold on the percentage. That's higher now, but you kind of stick with those percentages.
And how common would you say this happens where there's that?
A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes when you have children.
A lot of changes going on. But what happens a lot of time, whether it's the man or the woman, they don't step forward to do it. They just let it ride.
Until it's too late.
Or years can pass and you can't get it back.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, if you have any questions for Will Cooper, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
And that's today's On the Beat.